What if the Roman Empire never fell? It's one of history's biggest and most fascinating questions. Imagine a world where Rome didn't crumble in the 5th century, where the legions never laid down their swords, and emperors continued to rule not just kingdoms, but perhaps entire planets. Would we be living in a golden age of technology and culture, or under the iron grip of a single superpower? Today we explore this alternate timeline and what our world might look like if the Roman Empire had endured. Let's start with reality. In the year 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire fell, marking the end of centuries of dominance. Rome had been the center of the known world for over 500 years. Its legions built roads across Europe, Africa, and Asia. Its laws shaped civilization. Its aqueducts brought water to millions. But internal decay, economic struggles, political corruption, and relentless invasions by Germanic tribes tore the empire apart. Europe plunged into what we often call the Dark Ages. Cities shrank, roads fell into disrepair, knowledge was lost. The progress of science, medicine, and technology slowed dramatically. Some historians believe we lost centuries of potential advancement because of Rome's collapse. But what if it didn't happen? Let's imagine an alternate path. In this timeline, Rome learns from its mistakes. The emperors reform the tax system to reduce corruption. They invest in military innovation to defend against invaders. They bring conquered people into the empire as equals rather than rebels. Most importantly, they preserve knowledge, science, and education as the highest priorities of the state. The empire survives. It grows stronger. And over the next 1,000 years, history takes a radically different course. Picture the world in the year 1000 under the eternal Roman Empire. Instead of a fragmented Europe with warring kingdoms, we have a unified superstate stretching from Britain to the Middle East. From North Africa to the edges of Asia, Latin is the universal language. Roads, aqueducts, and trade networks connect every city across 3 continents. But it's not just political unity, it's technological progress. Roman engineers had already invented concrete, cranes, water mills, and even rudimentary steam engines before the empire fell. In our timeline, it took until the 18th century, over 1,000 years later, for the Industrial Revolution to begin. But in this alternate world, the Romans kick-started centuries earlier. By the year 1200, steam-powered chariots race across the empire. Roman airships patrol the skies, carrying senators and merchants between far-flung cities. Vast libraries preserve every scientific manuscript from Greece, Egypt, India, and China. Knowledge isn't lost to time, it grows exponentially. Education becomes universal. Schools in every province teach Latin, mathematics, astronomy, engineering, and philosophy. The printing press appears centuries before Gutenberg, because the empire values communication and learning. By 1400, ordinary Roman citizens read newspapers printed in Latin about events happening on the other side of the world. Medicine advances rapidly. The stable governments funding research, vaccines, antiseptics, and surgery appear long before they did in our timeline. Life expectancy soars. Plagues like the Black Death is prevented or dramatically reduced by early medical breakthroughs. And then comes the age of exploration. In our real history, Spain and Portugal led the charge across the oceans in the 15th century. But in this alternate world, the Roman Empire controls the Mediterranean, the Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean centuries earlier. Massive Roman fleets crossed the Americas long before Columbus. Cities rise on the shores of North America under Roman rule. Globalization begins not in the 1500s, but in the 900s. Fast forward to the 1700s. In our timeline, this is when the Industrial Revolution begins. Factories, trains, and electricity transform the world. But in the eternal Roman Empire, these things already exist. By now, Rome experiments with early computers, flying machines, and even rocketry. Think about it. The ancient Greeks had theories of steam power and even primitive automata. With 1,000 extra years of development under a single empire, technology could leap centuries ahead. And then, space. By the year 1900 in this alternate history, Roman astronauts prepare for missions to the moon. The empire builds space elevators, orbital stations, and maybe even colonies on Mars by the mid-20th century. The Eagle of Rome doesn't just fly over Earth, it soars into the cosmos. Now, picture the modern world in the year 2025. The Colosseum isn't just a relic of the past. It's a massive holographic arena where gladiator battles, now simulated with AI, are streamed across the Empire's interplanetary network. Mars colonies operate under Roman law. Lunar cities speak Latin as their official language. Our entire civilization speaks one language, uses one currency, and lives under one government. All descended from ancient Rome. But here's the question: would this world be better or worse? On one hand, technological progress would be staggering. Poverty might be eradicated under efficient, centralized planning. Diseases eliminated, education universal. Art and architecture flourishing with imperial funding. But what about freedom? Would a single empire ruling for 2,000 years crush democracy, creativity, and individuality? Would humanity stagnate under one eternal government, no matter how advanced? Or would Rome evolve into a democratic federation spanning planets? A Star Wars-style galactic republic with Roman roots? History suggests empires rise and eventually fall. Maybe even this eternal Rome would fracture under its own weight, leading to interplanetary rebellions, rival powers, and centuries of chaos before new civilizations emerge. Either way, imagining a world where Rome never fell reminds us how fragile human history really is. One battle, one decision, one leader's choice, and everything might have been different. So what do you think? Would we be living in a golden age of technology and unity, or under the shadow of an empire that never let go? Tell us your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more. What if alternate history adventures brought to life with AI?